Welcome into the Paul Kuharsky podcast. I am Paul Kuharsky of paulkuharsky.com, the best place for Titans news and analysis. Here live at Edley's Barbecue, 12 South, one of the best locations of the best barbecue place in town. If you can't make it live, which you need to, their app is spectacular. The delivery fees are minimal. Their speed is lightning quick. You can have Edley's at your house for dinner tonight as if you are in the restaurant. Check it out. We will talk more about them later. We're going to talk today about a Jeffery Simmons moment that really struck me. The clock on Cam Ward, not the clock you're thinking of. Cornerbacks, quote unquote, superpowers. The Titans ratings. And, of course, we will load up on all of your questions as we always do. Pleased to be with you on a gorgeous Friday in Nashville, Tennessee, as the Titans get ready for their second game against the Houston Texans divisional matchup. Always a little bit more room for a bad team to win against the division rival. Texans, nothing special. But coming off a really, really big win against the Jaguars with a excellent comeback. So, I wouldn't be optimistic, but something to watch. I mentioned the ratings. I wrote this morning, I've been digging on Titans ratings for some time. They're not easy to get, and I did find them. And remarkably, now, this is a half-size sample versus last year's full-size sample, but last year, the Tennessee Titans, on their way to the number one pick in the draft, which made them the worst team in the league, averaged a 14.2 rating. And this year, so far, they're averaging a 14.4. And I wrote, I think that's a testament, really, to the Titans, to the interest fans have in Cam Ward. Even if he's not playing well, people are curious about what he's doing. Now, it's entirely possible if the Titans continue to play this badly, which I think most of us expect, and if Cam Ward continues not to play well as part of that, that the ratings will drop off late in the season, and they'll end up worse this year than they were last year. They had an 11-3 against the Raiders, which is their second worst rating all time, to last year's Jaguars season finale, which was just a miserable moment for the organization on a rainy day where the attendance was also on all-time low. But I think the Titans can take touch of encouragement that people have not shut this team off on television the way you might expect. It's a little ironic. I get this report, I get these numbers on the eve of a game that's going to be broadcast in a very narrow area. This is not on in Knoxville. It's not on in Chattanooga. It's not on in Memphis. It's the very definition of Middle Tennessee. The broadcast territory for Titans Texan is tiny. So some of you out there in the comments here might be talking to me from an area of Tennessee that is not going to be able to watch this game on broadcast television. I'm pretty sure it's a CBS game. So if you're one of those people, I'd love to hear from you. Please retweet here. You're able to listen to this after the fact on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart, live now or later on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. So I'm doing a mailbag this week. You can get me on any social media outlet. And people who are members of paulkuharsky.com have top priority through the private Facebook page. Jordan Pace asks, Paul, if the Titans somehow inexplicably retained McCoy as head coach, would I retire or move markets? I can't remember you having more disdain for a non-player before. I think that's fair. I'm not in a situation to retire, though I would look for more classes at Belmont. Nobody's looking for me out of market. It's a largely dead in dead industry, and nobody's looking for a 56-year-old white guy. But no, there's no chance he's getting this job. No chance. Yeah, CA wants to see if McCoy can make it through one presser without saying Cam has a burning desire to be great. That is one of his crutches. Spaghetti asks, why can't we watch the game if we're in Tennessee again? So the broadcast area for the team, which is like a 40 or 60 mile circle around the city, basically. The area that used to be blacked out if the game wasn't sold out, that's still the same area. That, by rule, has to show the local game. It might be a further diameter or than that. But beyond that, stations and networks have choices. And I wrote about Memphis not covering one of the games earlier this year, not carrying one of the games earlier this year. It turns out that these markets, in conjunction with the network, decide, and it's basically a ratings-based decision. And so they decide, are the alternate games better and going to get them a better rating than Titans-Texans? There are some very good games on this weekend. I can't remember exactly which game is the preferred game. I'm going onto my Twitter account to look at that map that I tweeted out to alert people that this was happening. But it is a better game. I mean, if you're looking to watch a good game as opposed to the game. Oh, I don't have what the game is. But this game is being shown only in a very small territory of Nashville and Houston. It does go to Austin, but it's the smallest viewership area for anything in the country. And look, it doesn't help the Titans at all. They've got to get better and be better in order for these teams to have a chance. Do I think Kevin Winston will start on Sunday, asks Dennis. I do. Xavier Woods is not on track to be up. I can't imagine Mike Brown, even if he's back, plays for anything beyond special teams if he were to play this week. Condre Diggs is gone. And I think it's time for Kevin Winston to be out there and to get a chance to show us what he can do. And it's time. So I'd like to see him out there. I have not been as impressed with what I've seen from him as I expected to be. I don't think he's been as good as they expect him to be to this point. And so we shall see. Mikey asked, does Big Jeff get all the credit for him turning into an unstoppable force this season? Well, certainly. I mean, Denard Wilson and Tracy Rocker get some credit. I mean, you guys want to, when a guy's bad, it's all on the coach for you. When a guy's good, can't give it all to the player. It's primarily on the player either way to me. But I certainly think Jeff deserves a great share of credit for being what he's been this year. Now he needs to get healthy. And look, you can't control getting twisted or whatever happened to him, that he pulled the hamstring or the elbow a couple years ago. I think he played 16 last year, but he's had over the last several years propensity to miss 3-4 games, maybe 6 one year. And to be the complete player that Jeff Simmons wants to be, he needs to play 17 games. It's not always in your control, but he's been an absolute force in the games he played. And let me go there with Jeff Simmons. I wasn't sure Jeffery Simmons' new leadership was completely real, but he gave me some big evidence this week when he answered a question that the old Jeffery Simmons never would have touched. So he had a big scrum at his locker on Thursday, and I waited until it broke up and stuck around to ask him one additional question. And quite frankly, these are the moments that I've had with Jeff. We don't get along great historically. And these are the moments I've had with Jeff where I fully expected him to scoff at my question, give me a sour face, and wave me away. And look, Jeff Simmons doesn't have to get along great with me in order to prove that he's a changed man. But the NFL is filing a grievance against the NFLPA, according to ESPN, prompted by Woody Johnson, to try to eliminate these NFLPA report cards that have prompted a great deal of change from organizations who are embarrassed to be getting Fs for Arizona making their players pay for food and for terrible weight rooms and things like that. And I asked Jeff Simmons about this. He's the Titans NFLPA rep. And he didn't scoff and he didn't dismiss me, and he hadn't heard the report. He gave me a really good answer that is probably, from what I've seen, the player statement as a leader in the league about this issue. He said, ownership may not like to hear it, but we're being honest. And if we can affect change this way, that's a great thing. We're going to keep being honest. Players and the league fight. It's not the first fight. It's not going to be the last, but we're going to fight to keep doing this. And I thought that was a big moment for Jeff Simmons. I thought it was a big moment for Jeff Simmons to show not just locker room leadership, which has gotten better, and not just his play, which has obviously been spectacular. But there's a moment that Jeff Simmons could have brushed off, and he chose to be a player leader league-wide. And I got to tell you, I was really impressed by it. Here's what he had to say.
NFL and NFLPA fight about a lot of things, and they have fought about a lot of things in the past. Like the report card, it's the truth. I'm sure guys not just going on there because it's not mandatory that guys fill it out. So they go on there and they fill it out. Whatever we put out there and whatever we grade and whatever we think on that report card, when we filling out the survey, that's the truth. So I don't really, I haven't saw that just yet that they filed a grievance about it, but I think at the end of the day, it's the truth. And a lot of people don't like to hear the truth at times, but we're gonna stick to it. We're gonna stick together, and I'm sure we'll be ready to fight as the
PA. I was really surprised. I talked to him for a second about that. I said I made a joke about Arizona and that, not having to pay for their food as a result of those surveys, and we kind of laughed about it and stuff. But major respect to Jeff Simmons. I think that is a telling moment. And I do think that he's changed his ways to a big degree. And for a guy to do that as far as he is along in his career, you could say some of it, you could be skeptical. And I'm a little bit skeptical, He's changed his ways and he wants guaranteed money. And a lot of guys change their ways when they're on the verge of guaranteed money. But I think he knows he's going to be here for the long term. He's trying to make the best of it. He wants to be the best player he can. And they asked him to change kind of his leadership to a degree. And I think he has. And I think that, he doesn't say things about the locker room that he still could say. But that's a very telling answer to me. I thought that was significant. And props to him. And I'll be over there in a little while. If I get a chance to tell him, I'll say something indicating that. Again, I don't think that necessarily has to mean much to him, but for me to say something. We're not becoming best friends. Todd Apple says, this is very funny, Todd. PK and Big Jeff becoming best friends means the earth is healing. That's very funny, but that's not what's happening. But a lot of you seem to agree that seems. With that being said, Nolan asks, do I agree with the Titans' decision to make him off limits in any trade? If I could have gotten what the Dallas gave for Quinnen Williams, a 1, a 2, and Mazzie Smith, who I know would just be a project now, he's a bust. I think that would have been pretty tempting. but I don't think he could have gone wrong either way. He's a foundational piece. I wish he played a more important position, frankly. And I understand collapsing the pocket from the inside is very important in today's NFL. But edge rusher, cornerback, wide receiver for Cam, all strike me as more important. Do I think, Robert asks, Kevin Winston's play so far has been negatively impacted in a significant way by the cornerback play around him? He hasn't played enough safety for us to tell on that. Here's Josh. Jarvis Brownlee's bad tendencies and penalties were on full display last night. Borgonzi might have been onto something. Yeah, I mean, look, we knew those characteristics are in Jarvis Brownlee. If you like him as a player, you're accepting those things. If you don't like him as a player, those are the reasons why. And the Titans don't like him as a player. So better, less people see the struggles can surprise the bigger markets when it all comes together. Fingers crossed. This is Whoosh Wizard on the finding a silver lining. If I ever saw someone find a silver lining, he's finding a silver lining about the ratings. Fewer people will see them while they suck, and then when they get good, they can turn on their TVs and find the Titans. I say, look, you're not forcing people to watch them, but you want people in Huntsville, Alabama, to be able to watch them if they want. The dedicated fans you have, you don't want to lose, because the network and the local affiliate are deciding to go for ratings with a game. So I think that's the unfortunate part of things, right? Dan Moore and it was Oli Udoh who played on the other side, actually did a reasonable job against the Houston Texans. Really tough pair of pass rushers, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson in the first matchup, which I think means things are going to come back to bite them, and they probably get hurt in the second matchup. But, I mean, that is a premier pair of pass rushing edges. And we know that Dan Moore really is an average left tackle who is not primed for prime matchups. He is primed. He's an average guy who handles average people, and it's kind of the issue. A lot of people want the Titans to go left tackle again in the draft. I understand that, but I think they've made a 2-year commitment to Moore. New head coach is going to have influence on this. The issue is all the other needs the Titans have. But, excuse me, I had a chance to talk to Dan Moore earlier this week about this matchup. So here's that little snippet.
They flip around a lot, but yeah, typically I got Hunter last game, and he normally plays on that side.
How'd that go for you, and what can you draw from the first one to the second one?
Yeah, I thought productivity was well. Held my side down for the most part. I think there's a few little things, just communication pieces that me and Pete need to clean up, just switching games and stuff like that. Could be a situation where may not be a lot of help on that side, so we just got to handle up.
Find that there's an advantage one way or the other in rematches?
I don't look at it that way. I look at it as, your opponent knows you, you know your opponent, your self-scout better be on point, and you better be ready to go out there and execute.
How much has his game maybe changed or stayed the same since the last time you saw him?
He's a dynamic rusher, right? Veteran guy. It's not like he's young. He has his moves. He throws them. I think the biggest thing will just be dialing up how he tried to attack me last game and, trying to make a plan against it.
So there's Dan Moore. I don't know what your confidence level is on the Titans tackles in this game. Obviously, you go into virtually every Titans game expecting trouble from the edges. Cam's got to get rid of the ball quicker, not run himself into trouble. And those guys need to do a better job of pass protecting, generally speaking. Guy who's doing a great job pass protecting, Peter Skoronsky. If you have not read it at paulkuharsky.com, Really, it's probably his best work so far of the season. Drew Beatty, Iron City Film on Twitter, with just a really, really thorough breakdown of Peter Skoronski, what he's doing in the run game and pass protecting. And I told Peter this week, I said, I knew you were doing good work. But when I watched this film review, you're doing even better than I thought. So head to paulkuharski.com and check this piece out. $7.50 a month, really, for the stuff you're getting. It's a steal, less than the price of a fancy cup of coffee or a nice cocktail or a nice beer. You get Drew's film analysis. You get Blake Bedingfield game reviews from a scouting perspective. You get Mike Herndon's analysis, which is excellent. You get Braden Gall telling you what you need to be looking for in college football games as the Titans approach another very high draft pick. And you support independent journalism on the Titans, where I'm first on L'Jarius Sneed. I cover that case better than anybody. I'm giving you the Titans television ratings, something nobody else is digging to get. I'm telling you about Cam Ward and the timetable for what's realistic. Piece I'm going to talk about again just this week alone, easily worth $7.50. Come join the fun. You get a space in the private Facebook, and I'll send you a text message every time I'm doing one of these podcasts, which includes one after the game from the press box, which is the most popular feature of the week, probably. After I've talked to coach, after I've been in the locker room, after I've written down and sat down and written something assessing the game. Sensible commentary on what unfolded. Let's move on to another big position of concern. Let me be blunt here. The Titans don't have a cornerback problem. They have a cornerback crisis. And the coaches can't figure out ways to hide it. Marcus Harris was shaky as he got into the lineup after Roger McCreary disappeared. Jalen Armour Davis, it's a good thing that he's in good position, right? Except that when he's in good position, it looks terrible when plays are made over him. And Daryl Baker seems like last year was a fluke. I mean, he had better people around him, and there was more of a pass rush, and he looked like a really promising guy, but he doesn't look like a really promising guy anymore. Denard Walker has been upfront about the difficulties of losing the three guys you started the season with starting. L'Jarius Sneed on IR, he wasn't very good. Jarvis Brownlee, feisty and brings you problems, but was more productive than any of these guys. Roger McCreary, a steady nickel, traded away. You're left with scraps at corner. Then your safeties are overextending as a result of trying to help out, and they're not fast. Amani Hooker's not fast. Xavier Woods is not fast. Condre Diggs was not fast. Hopefully Kevin Winston brings some juice there, but that secondary is problematic. Now you match it up with a front that finally got going sack-wise. It's going to get Jeffery Simmons back. It's going to get Arden Key back. But Draymond Jones was really key, and he's been traded. So defensively, they just don't have the horses to get things done. Tony Oden is the quarterbacks coach. We talked to him this week about the same thing we've talked to Denard Wilson about, this idea of just replacing corner after corner after corner. And here's what he had to say.
Well, the first thing is we're dealing with humans. All right, so anytime you work with someone and they're no longer in your room, you miss them because you know how hard they work. There's a transition involved with them and their families. So we wish them luck and we miss them for that aspect. Then from our room right there, we coach them all like they're starters anyway. All right, so if a guy's getting reps in practice, we still have in the meeting room, mindset-wise, everyone's asking questions because it can happen any day. It can happen within a series, within a game, and you have to be ready. So when you have weeks to prepare for it, it's even better. All right, is it a challenge? Yes. That's why they call me coach. That's why they call them players. We do it all together. But it starts in the spring, all right, with building a foundation. All right, and then when you get guys here, we have a protocol for getting guys ready. What does that look like? Acclimating them to our communication, our verbiage, how we do it, our tempo in practice, our expectations, and then we go out there. All right, and then when you're having new guys in, you have to understand and find out what they can do. What is their superpower? All right, and when you find out their superpower in conjunction with what we're doing from a defensive perspective, then you just go.
What is
He talks about finding a guy's superpower. I said bluntly, does your number 7 cornerback from training camp have a superpower? And he said, everybody in the NFL, if you're in the NFL, has a superpower. So, you know, I'm not thinking Jalen Armour-Davis has a superpower, or there's a hell of a long way to go to unlock his superpower. He does. He is in good position, but he's had a good while now to prove that being in good position translates to something. How? I mean, the Titans don't have any choice but to be patient with him and to wait for that to turn into something. Maybe it turns into something. I don't know. But the wait seems interminable, to pick a word. Let's retweet here. We'll get a little bit more of a crowd going, and I'll get back into some of your questions here. Appreciate all of you coming. I am at Edley's Barbecue, one of their many locations. I'm at 12 South. You could also go to Nolansville, Franklin at the factory, Franklin at Berry Farm, Sylvan Park, East Nashville, Donaldson, Gallatin. All of them the same standards, same quality food, same great service, same quick service, same big portions, same reasonable prices. It is a phenomenal place to eat. Great brisket. I love the burnt ends. I went to the avocado salad for a while. Now I am back on the burnt ends. The fried ribs are also excellent. They don't have them all the time. If you're lucky enough to be at Edley's at a time when they had fried ribs, you got to go that direction, I think. So many different choices. Listen, download the Edley's app also. If you're unable to eat here, you need to order out. But don't use DoorDash or Grubhub or any of those things. Edley's has their own deal. They smartly did this a while ago. Get on the app, you order. If you're in range of them, and odds are you are based on how many restaurants they have, they will deliver quickly to your house very inexpensively. It is an amazing feature that every restaurant should have, but nobody does. Edley's does. Get the app. Order in. They'll make it like you are at the restaurant. Food's delivered hot, fast, cheap. What more can you ask for? Download the Edley's app. Order soon. Get to the restaurant soon. Can you smell it? Oh, God. I'm not going to be able to have lunch today, and this saddens me deeply. You need to get here. Bring the family for dinner tonight. Come over the weekend. Next week, have a business lunch at Edley's Barbecue. You cannot go wrong. Let's get back to some of your questions here, and then I've got some more excellent material coming down to the bottom. If I were Titans PR, would I have Borgonzi do pressers and put Brinker back in the shadows? I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, because we've heard, not from her, but through her people, that Amy has done what? Amy Adams Strunk has empowered Chad Brinker on the football side, Burke Nihill on the business side, to speak on her behalf, to represent her. And so I think it would be hard for the Titans not to have Chad Brinker occasionally speak on behalf of the organization. He is her. And so I think that they're going to have to have him speak on her behalf, at least periodically. If you cut Ridley, you have to sign a superstar wide receiver. I heard A.J. Brown was pretty good, just saying. I also heard Howie Roseman say that you don't just get rid of players as good as A.J. Brown, and Philadelphia is one of the smartest organizations in the NFL. So I wouldn't expect him to come free. Certainly not where you could just sign him. You would have to trade for him, and the Titans are not going to trade for A.J. Brown. I guarantee it. Todd Apple, who's having an excellent, excellent podcast. I've never seen someone be so close in coverage yet so far away at the same time. It's quite impressive. Jalen Armour Davis is, you could use him as film for being close, and then you could use him as film for being not making plays. Leak asks, are Ridley and Snead cut candidates going into 2026? I think they're more than cut candidates. I think they're cut. Ridley, I believe, saves money. Snead costs $8 million in dead cap. There's no reason to have Snead around. Can't play anymore, really. Has been unavailable. Could be convicted of this heavy misdemeanor, failure to report a felony. I doubt he goes to jail for it, but misdemeanor, Class A misdemeanor in Texas comes with up to a year in prison, $4,000 fine, or both. It's been a disaster. I think they'll wash their hands of it. Can't get reliable play out of him anyway. So. CA, good to see you. Says all eyes on Latham. Show us you are worth 7th overall. Had a nice rest first time around versus Houston. So let's see some dominance this week. No excuses. He knows. He knows. And I think J.C. Latham, a lot of people are asking me about what I'm looking for in the second half of the season. I think J.C. Latham's one of those guys. It would be great for J.C. Latham to cease the conversation about his future. I think he's the right tackle going forward, no matter what, really. But wouldn't it be nice if he was the right tackle going forward, no matter what, in the public eye? If he could play that physical, nasty style that we know he has in him. Let's see the work. Let's see the payoff. Let's see the quality play. That would be big. Congratulations. She turned 21 like 2 months ago. She's getting something to drink. I would like to get something to drink. Focus. Good to see you. I don't know how you can find 15 to 17 starters, which we need, in one draft year without large free agent signings. Doubt Amy will be cool with another year in the bottom three. They're going to, I don't know. I mean, that sounds like you think there aren't going to be large free agent signings. They have gigantic cap dollars. They are going to sign a ton of free agents. But they're only going to sign one or two, big free agents. And you think of what's available in big free agency, it's not that much. I mean, great guys don't make it to free agency. They'll sign a receiver. I think Alec Pierce or Michael Pittman, are those guys free agents? Well, those are nice guys to add to your receiving group, but they're not the number one receiver. The number one receiver has to come in the draft. You can get some pieces. The guy I always use as an example isn't going to be Cody Barton, who hasn't panned out. Isn't going to be Dan Moore, who got huge dollars knowing he was an average guy. It's Sebastian Joseph Day. Sebastian Joseph Day plays significant. He's a role player. He plays his role well. He's an effective player. Fill your roster with as many Sebastian Joseph Days as you can. That's what the Titans need to do mostly in free agency. Mostly. Find yourself a bunch of Sebastian Joseph Days. The more you can do that, the more you raise the floor to a more acceptable level. If you can have a good draft, if you can find a couple higher end free agents that can play beyond where they've played in the NFL so far, and then find me 5 Sebastian Joseph Days. I think that would be a significant accomplishment. Yeah, CA says during Borgonzi presser, he said they're doing all they can to fix it. Not dealing Pollard or Key to New England because Amy is still mad about how things ended that she ended. There were no conversations about Pollard or Key with New England. Let me repeat this. There were no conversations with New England about Pollard or Key. The Titans talked with New England about Draymond Jones, and Draymond Jones, they got more from Baltimore for Draymond Jones than they could have gotten from New England. And so they did what they should do. They took the best offer for Draymond Jones. Do you think that the Titans would have passed on a better offer from New England over some grudge with Mike Vrabel? I don't know. I mean, Pollard would have been a role player up there, but people make it like Vrabel had a relationship with Pollard. He did not. Pollard did not play for Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. And, if they had an interest in Arden Key, my reporting hasn't revealed it. So I don't believe there was any offer made by New England for Arden Key. I think this whole thing was about Draymond Jones. And in this instance, I think I absolutely believe that the grudge here on this story, which, by the way, was never written as a story. If it's only a tweet, like, listen, I have certain standards. If it's only a tweet, that means it's not that big to me. So, look, I like Mike Girardi. I think he's a good reporter. But he only tweeted this. If he thought it was super big, he would have written a story about it. I think what Jeff Simmons said yesterday to me about the NFLPA thing, that probably should have been a story. I didn't write a story. I was on my way to teach a class at Belmont. I thought it was big enough to get out. I thought it might take off. Should have written a story about it. Generally, though, if you don't write a story about it, you don't think it's that big. I think this is Mike Vrabel's grudge against the Titans far more than it's the Titans' grudge against Mike Vrabel. What else do we have here? Sorry, I needed a pause there. Dennis Daly has scarred me, says Leak. It's a good crowd in here. I appreciate those of you that I don't know. Whoosh Wizard, it's good to see you. I hope you'll come be a member of paulkuharski.com. I don't know if I recognize Jack Shepard, not Kevin Dodd. Todd Apple's been terrific. But the regular crowd, too. Richard Snyder. Leak is new, and I'm enjoying him. CA, I'm glad to see. Focus. You guys know who you are. It's great to see all of you. Robert Pruitt, you guys know who you are. I appreciate it very much. Let me give you a couple picks really quick. I don't know that you're interested in them, but I am having a decent season. I didn't make picks last week. I took the week off. 1-1 in week 9, 13-8 overall. I'll put myself on the hook for a couple more. I think I will. Shuffling papers. I stopped bringing my mic stand because it's a huge pain in the ass to carry around, but it does make it a little harder to keep up with my papers. This is some hell of a podcast right now as I shuffle my papers. It's going to be on this page right here. Yeah, here are my two picks. 49ers -2.5 at Arizona. Purdy's back. I'm not sure that that's a great thing, but I'm going to take the 49ers giving 2.5 at Arizona. Arizona's just terrible, right? And the Chiefs giving 3.5 at the Broncos. I think Denver. Look, the Chiefs need this game in a big way to close the gap on Denver. Denver's 8-2. The Chiefs are 5-4. I think the Chiefs will take care of that. So give me the 49ers -2.5. Give me the Chiefs -3.5. Those are my two. National media definitely thinks the Amy Grudge exists. Look, it's a good story. But I was disappointed to see people like Rachel Nichols just picking it up and running with it. It wasn't hard to check the other side. I mean, I guess it is hard to check the other side because I'm the only person who wrote anything about it from the Titans side. I think that's a weakness in the Titans media corps. So, can you interest me in Breece Hall? I like Breece Hall. Is Breece Hall a free agent? That'd be a good running back addition. And I think if he can stay healthy, would give you a better return than a 4th or 5th round pick, and then allow you to address something else in the 4th or 5th round. Though you should be able to find a contributing running back, in late round. The thing is, this regime jumped on Tony Pollard pretty quickly. Now they were replacing Derrick Henry. Now they're going to replace Tony Pollard. So it's pretty interesting. See a shout out for Carnell Tate, who's very good. Snead trade is a bigger bust than people realize, not K. Dodd says. I don't think so. I think everybody realizes that the Snead trade was a huge bust. Brandon Tyler, could they save money if Snead is convicted? Yes. I think that the trial date won't be until after they make a decision on Snead, probably at the beginning of the league year, maybe before that. No, at the beginning of the league year, they'll make a decision on Snead. Then if he's convicted, they could retroactively get bonus money back and some financial relief. Yeah, Leak is giving me credit for sitting at a barbecue place, Edley's, and not getting lunch. Got to be a crime. I got to get over to the Titans. I was a little late to start today. And so that's on me. That's tough. I have one other big issue I wanted to hit on here that I have some video on. So let's get to that, and then we'll finish up with some of your questions. All right? Shall we? Every NFL offense gets a few freebies a game. Quick screens, easy yards, confidence throws. And the Titans are just failing at them. They don't seem to have any answers. I talked to receivers about this, and they consistently talk about how it's difficult, the timing, the rules, when you can get your hands on people to block, how far downfield, and all of this. Do we think that the Rams, who are tremendous at screens, talk about this kind of stuff? I guarantee you they don't. The Titans have run 32 total screenplays this year. 92 of them have qualified as successful with positive EPA. 9 for 32. That's a 28.13 success rate, 31st in the NFL. Minus 0.36 average EPA per screen. Among the worst in the league. Only the Seahawks, 28% success rate, have performed worse on screen passes than the Titans this season. League leading Rams, 60.8% screen success rate, and they get 0.37 average EPA per screen. It's a lot of numbers there. The Titans suck at screens. They've been better under McCoy, but it cannot be this difficult. Now, Jeff Fisher the Titans didn't run a lot of screens when he was coach. Different era for sure. Different rules, different kinds of players, all of that. But he used to say you're either a screen team or you're not a screen team. And if you're a screen team, you work like crazy on screens. Eddie George wasn't a screen type back, and it was understandable. But I watched a lot of football this past weekend while the Titans were on a bye week. And the ease with which so many teams get not just successful play on a screen, but field flipping chunk plays on screens was remarkable to me. And the Titans' inability to do this with some personnel that should be good at it. Tajay Spears should be a successful screen player. Chigakonkwo should be a successful screen player. And the Titans' inability to have success with screens is to me, a big indictment of their offense, of their ability to coach things into success. They put Chim DK in position to block on screens. We've seen that Chim DK can be a good player. He's not a good blocker on screens. Never ask him to block on screens. He's not a good catcher on screens. Don't involve him in that. They've got to be better on this, and it's a huge disappointment. And I think it's hopeless for them to do it. So you take this out of what they can do, and the envelope reduces. And the Titans don't need a reduced envelope on screens. Here's Bo Hardigree, the offensive play caller, talking a little bit about screens.
Screens are there's something that like you have in your plan. Some teams are better at defending them than others. Obviously you don't want to put guys in certain situations where they're not chasers up the field, things like that. But they just come with practicing them. You gotta practice at full speed, and that's what we're doing, and we'll get better at it.
I like Bo. I think Bo's doing the best he can, but some teams are good at defending screens. Well, sure. You've had a decent body of work now. You've faced some teams that aren't good at defending screens, and it's just not enough. It's not enough. It's one of several subjects about this year's Tennessee Titans that just disgusts me. Also, want to talk about Cam Ward, and I didn't get to that. I wrote about him this week. And I urge you to go read this piece at paulkuharski.com. And once again, I'll get to my papers here. Cam is on a clock. Everybody wants to know, a lot of people are already dismissing him as a bust, which is ridiculous. I wrote about a different kind of clock for Cam Ward this week. If you want the real story on Cam Ward's slow development, former NFL quarterback told me flat out, you can't fix it in season. Look, his footwork stuff is a big deal, and it's what's preventing success on a lot of the short throws that are undoing the Titans. His completion percentage is a huge problem, down below 60%, and a lot of it's him missing easy stuff, making bad throws on easy stuff, or passing up easier throws that would get him into 2nd and 4, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2. And that's where the Titans want to live, and they just can't get there. But quite frankly, there's not enough time in practice to focus on this, because they got to focus on the game plan, and they got to execute plays that need to be run on Sunday. And the little bit of time they have to work on this stuff is not enough to transform a guy. It could click in for him. It could. But I talked to multiple offensive coaches and multiple former quarterbacks, and that was the sense. You can't fix it in season. They've got to hire a new coach. He's got to hire a new staff. They've got to talk to his private quarterback coach, and they've got to spend an off season of intensive work rebuilding those things. Could be different nuances, could be different big things that the new staff wants from him. But the bulk of this work to reframe these very important mechanical basics comes in the offseason. And we need to see that transformation happen. February, March, probably away from the team. March, April, May, June, with the team. And then when he gets to camp, some of this stuff has to finally be second nature, where he's not giving up some of these easy throws. And I asked Cam about the time that he has to work on it. And of course, he's not going to say, no, there's not enough time. He handled the question well. And he says he's working on it some on his own. I wonder if he's out there on Tuesdays, maybe doing some stuff on his own. But it's important to hear what he has to say. Here it is.
There's always enough time. You just got to know how to use, your days. Might not be a lot of time just with full speed reps because we're later in the season, guys' body. You got to be able to get them to Sunday. But you got to be able to be a a mental quarterback, and I think that's what I'm getting better at each and every week. Just kind of walkthroughs his actual game reps. Just being just mentally focused on a lot of little things.
It seems like for how much the coaches talk about the individual periods and footwork and stuff, that's only a small segment of what we do today. Is it enough? Does it feel like enough?
Yeah, it feels like enough. I got a lot. I get a lot of it done on my own time. And that's just really, how the work week is. You got to take advantage of the minutes that you get. You got to maximize just outside the building.
What are you able to do?
Just a lot of just short stepping, not overstriding, a lot of pocket movement. I think the biggest thing is just not, throwing from off balance platforms if I don't need to. Just staying in the pocket.
So that's what Ward had to say about it. He's a good company guy, but he's also being candid there. This is a good question from the dude lives free. Another good new contributor. If the fundamentals are not there, then what good is focusing on game plan? Well, I mean, you still have to go out and execute something on Sunday against Houston. They have to have plays to run. Now, if he has to come off his second read and he faces pressure from that side and it throws off his feet and the basic mechanics of the footwork break down in that moment, they suffer for it, but they still have to have a plan for what to do. So you can't not game plan in exchange for working on fundamentals all week. I would like, dude, for there to be some sort of revolutionary approach from the Titans to focusing on fundamentals within the practice week that goes beyond what they do from I think Mike McCoy would say he was revolutionary. He took the individual period and expanded it from 7 minutes to 12 minutes. So an extra 5 minutes 3 times a week. There's 15 minutes more for them to focus on fundamentals in that period. Now, there are a couple other periods where they also do it. But you also have to have the receivers running the routes that are going to be thrown. Is Cam concentrating on footwork as part of that? As part of that, yeah. As the primary thing, no. So I'm kind of with you. That's a hardcore, significant question, a chicken and egg kind of thing. Hardcore philosophical question. If the fundamentals aren't there, then can the game plan work? No. The evidence tells us no. But you still have to game plan and practice the game plan, right? Well, and this is another question I get a lot, chili mode. So why not make the offense more hurricane friendly while he tries to get things caught up? Well, I mean, you can do that to an extent, but you can't put the Miami Hurricanes offense in the NFL. It's not equipped for NFL defenses. You have to be more sophisticated than that. Richard Snyder, friend of the program, says he's hoping with Ridley being back, it helps open up the underneath stuff, and Cam actually takes the underneath stuff. It would help the O-line as well. Cam actually taking the underneath stuff is an issue. And this is another interesting place we wind up, right? The idea of a quarterback being so reluctant to take short stuff. So he's a hunter. That's what we were told, right? Brian Callahan said that. He's a hunter. And we like our quarterbacks to be hunters. Hey, go for the deep shot. All that. And here we're put in this position where we actually want the quarterback not to look long as much, not to go deep as often, but to take something shorter. It's so backwards. Usually they take short stuff and we're begging them to go deeper. And here we're saying, hey, don't pass up that guy. Jeff Fisher, I'm referring to again, he used to say, never pass one up to get to another one. And it drove us crazy. Now we'd like Jeff Fisher to deliver a speech to Cam Ward. CA says, I say you keep Ridley with the young guys and draft a wide receiver 1. It's okay to have 4 guys. We have the money. It's not beyond comprehension to do that and to have the depth. But I'm saying sign a veteran receiver to be in the top 4. Draft a guy that's going to be like a Buka or Smith and Jigba. And I'm told those are the caliber of high draft picks in this draft, which would be fine by me. You drop a guy like either of those guys into the Titans lineup, I think it would change the entire offense. Then have a good veteran and Chim and Isle Manor, and I'd feel pretty good about the top 4. Then we're leaving out Bryce Oliver, who's been invisible. Hopefully he's reemerging this week. If he's your 5th and he can pick up where he left off, I think he can be a contributor. He's a guy, don't forget, that they envisioned as the next NWI. And if he can build on that, I mean, I think that wouldn't be a bad 5. It'll take 1 or 2 more, and then we'll get out of here. Big John says, one reason they suck so bad at screens is because they're extremely predictable when called, and the defense acts like they know it's coming. And I don't disagree with you, Big John, but here's the thing. You need to get good at some stuff and be able to execute it no matter what the defense knows. And I'm watching. Look, the Rams are at the other extreme. But I think the Rams could run a screen every play, defense be damned, and get yards, right? Just like the Titans against loaded boxes could run Derrick Henry in his prime and get 6 or 8 yards, right? Now, the Titans are a long way from having the personnel to execute that. But I think in certain instances, they should be able to run a screen and get 6 yards out of it, even if you know it's coming. And you know what? I thought, hey, the Titans they run very slow developing screens, I thought. And then I watched on Sunday and I saw some teams run some pretty slow developing screens with way more success than the Titans run slow developing screen. I just think they're shit at it. Richard, I don't want to hear this stuff. This is the last question. I appreciate all you guys again. Thank you so much for coming. Please retweet, like, subscribe, thumbs up, rate, review. All of that helps me, and that helps me help you. Support independent journalism on the Titans and in Nashville. Support Edley's Barbecue. Richard said, you take the edge guy first this year. They are in short supply. Wide receiver draft looks better next year. You have to solve both those problems this year. They're going to have a high pick. They got to trade out of that, and they got to get top guys at both of those positions. Look, I understand they are 2 drafts away. They're 2 years away from fleshing out this roster. But you got to go into next year with a number 1 edge and a number 1 receiver. Period. I am not waiting. I am not buying, hey, we'll take care of one of those next year. I am not waiting. And I'm not buying that. Look, they can ask for patience, and I understand just how bad a shape this roster is in. But I need to see some significant action at edge, at receiver, and at cornerback. Edge, long overdue. Receiver, long overdue. Cornerback, you did it to yourselves. Action, action, and action. Don't block the box, and be sure to lock your locks. I will see you on here from the Nissan Stadium press box after Titans-Texans on Sunday. Join the site, and I'll set you up with a text message that'll tell you when I'm going live. Take care, everybody, and thanks.